Thank you everyone for joining us today for our Healthy Sleep Habits webinar with Hillary Davis. We are excited to have her back. She just hosted a session last month maybe with us for neck and shoulder strain. So I am going to pass it over to her. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat and we will get to those as we go along.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. One person in the chat wondering if they could get some help getting muted. Can help. That would be great.
Yes, I'll do that.
Awesome that so many of you are with us. So we are going to start with just 3 deep breaths to settle. Then I'll give you a little information about myself, and we'll get to talking and practicing around healthy sleep habits. So just 3 deep breaths to begin, to settle, to bring your attention into the space. So you can roll your shoulders up and back. Feel where your seat is connected to your chair or the ground. Close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. And
Sure.
as you finish, you can float your eyes open. And I think a couple of folks may need to go on mute. I'll say that I love seeing faces. It's easier to have a conversation and talk to other people rather than to myself. So if you're willing and able to come on camera for part or all of the session, that's great. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. My name's Hillary Kellner Davis, and I teach yoga and mindfulness. Some of you were with us for our head, neck, and shoulders health conversation last month, and I'm excited to do this series and have the opportunity to share some of what I know and act as guide. Um, and I primarily study a system of yoga called Anusara, which is interested in alignment, and became interested a couple of years ago in functional movement. Like, how do we sustain or regain the ability to do important things like getting down onto the ground and getting back up comfortably, tying our shoes, and other things well into our elder years. And mindfulness as a practice has been part of my life for over 20 years. I've been teaching yoga for about 15. So that's a little bit of my background. I live in Hector on the east side of Seneca Lake and lived in Ithaca for many years. So I'm adjacent to many of your communities. And I want to just revisit, yeah, it's called Anusara. Some of the factors that you all named to this initial prompt or question, like what factors most negatively impact your sleep. Activities before bedtime, late dinners and errands, feeling like I need to pee before I go to sleep, getting into bed at a decent time, a couple of people with getting my mind to turn off, restless leg syndrome. So lots of things that can feel like they're, or exercise or lack of, feel like they're standing in the way. So you actually all know a lot of the answers to what factors are most important when it comes to sleep health. One important thing I want to say is that when we use the phrase sleep hygiene, or in this session, healthy sleep habits, we're talking about a network of behaviors and choices that support healthy sleep. So if you're a person who wishes that you went to bed earlier, or you wish you could fall asleep more quickly, or you feel like you got enough hours of sleep, but you don't wake up feeling rested, these habits can be incredibly supportive. What they cannot do alone is treat clinical insomnia. So if you're experiencing chronic insomnia, defined by the New England Journal of Medicine as difficulty initiating or maintaining sleep on 3 or more nights per week, persisting for more than 3 months, and not attributable to inadequate opportunity for sleep, um, we need to be thoughtful in exploring healthy habits, not to make people feel like they're failing at fixing their sleep if they're actually experiencing a clinical condition, which requires parallel modes of treatment along with healthy sleep habits. So just important to note that this is a conversation about improving sleep, not within the bounds of clinical insomnia. So we also want to think about, why is good sleep important? Makes it easier to make good decisions. Do you ever notice sort of a cascade if you're exhausted, with other decisions that might not be supportive to your well-being, sort of flowing downhill from your exhaustion and fatigue? Better stress management is accessible when we're well rested, and it feels good to be mentally sharp. So those are a couple of the reasons that we want good rest. And I'm going to describe to you some of the research-backed sleep hygiene habits that show the highest amount of efficacy in improving sleep quality and duration. And I'm going to see if you can guess what the top three are that make the biggest difference. So here's our list. Regular exercise, avoiding stimulants, namely nicotine and caffeine. Caffeine persists in the body for 6+ hours. Keeping your bedroom dark, cool, and quiet. Removing bright alarm clocks and avoiding time checking. Eating your evening meal at least 90 minutes before bedtime. Avoiding bright screens and television before bedtime. Avoiding alcohol. If you nap, doing so early in the day and briefly. 20 to 30 minutes is shown to be supportive for quality night sleep. 90+ minutes shown to disrupt the next night's sleep. And maintaining a consistent bedtime and wake time. So, of that long list, throw in the chat any guesses at what you think the top three are. It's low stakes to be wrong. You can just throw something in. Screens, electronic devices, routine, caffeine. Top three: routine, dark and cool room, and caffeine, too much on the mind. Great. Okay. So the top three that show the most research-backed efficacy of making a difference for sleep quality, duration, and quality are having a fixed wake-up time 7 days a week, regular exercise. All modalities show improvement. So there's not, you don't have to do high intensity, you don't have to do cardio. If you're getting regular exercise, that's number two. And three is cutting evening alcohol. Those are your top three if you want to make the biggest difference in sleep quality and duration. Great question about what if you take a long time to fall asleep. So when you're napping, you have to lay down for 30 to 60 minutes before you fall asleep. Good question. I'm going to work on answering that in a little bit. Moderate yield. So after our top three come cutting off caffeine after midday, evening light reduction and screen reduction, the cool, quiet, dark bedroom, and no clock watching. I thought that one was interesting. So it was shown in sleep studies to have an excitatory effect on the body if you check the time to see, like, oh, I still haven't fallen asleep. What time is it now? And you look at the clock, it actually makes you take longer to fall asleep. So there's some information about what the research has to say about behaviors, habits, and choices around sleep. And after a bunch of information input, we're going to do a practice together, and then we'll come back to information. So we're going to do a brief meditation. Feel free to turn the camera off for this if you'd like, or leave it on. And this is an internal family systems adjacent meditation technique. Some of you may have heard of that system. And here's the idea. A lot of traditional meditation strategies and systems will tell you to watch your thoughts like clouds going by in the sky, and to neither respond, react, or judge them, and that they will eventually quiet down. And while that sounds lovely, it can be quite difficult, especially for beginners. And it might leave some insights on the table as to why those voices in our minds start to talk up and get louder and faster when things around us get quiet, when we're trying to meditate or when we're trying to fall asleep. So, this strategy instead suggests that you address the voice in your head, that you address the one monologuing inside your head. And the idea is that we ask that voice to come forward and investigate what the energy behind the voice is. So the theory is that when a part of ourselves feels urgent and it's actually heard, it will be able to settle down and quiet itself. For me, it's often the voice of the critic, either pointed internally, I'm doing a bad job, I didn't plan this class well enough, I'm the one to be judged, or externally, somebody else is doing a bad job. I get real self righteous. And it's a loud, kind of exhausted, habitual voice. So when I inquire of that voice, what it's trying to do, what its intention is, it's really all about protection. It's a maladaptive attempt to make sure that I do a good job, that I succeed, and that I'm protected from reproach or criticism from other people. It's a flip side of a mechanism that can feel really rigid. That's actually one of the most earnest parts of myself, trying to defend me. And when I inquire of that voice about that intention and reassure that voice that I'm safe, I'm secure, I'm okay, it will often get quieter after it's been heard. So that's what we're going to try in this meditation to address the voices that arise when many of you were naming in the chat that the mind won't be quiet when you try to go to sleep. So wherever you are, maybe seated, maybe lying down, you'll roll your shoulders up and back again, just as you did when you took your deep breaths at the beginning of the session. Close your eyes, deepen your breath. And spend a few breaths with your attention on the current of your inhalation and your exhalation. And now allow one of those voices that comes forward when you try to go to sleep. Maybe it's the planner or the critic to come forward. And you pose a question to it. You ask, what is the energy behind the voice trying to make my grocery list when I'm trying to go to sleep, or relitigating an argument that I had last week when I'm trying to go to sleep? What is the intention or the energy behind that voice? You give some space for an answer to arise. And you might get some real insight into its intention. And you can respond to what it says. It might look like reassuring that part of yourself that the grocery list will indeed get made tomorrow, or that you don't have to win that argument that happened in the past to be okay. You're letting some form of vigilance that isn't letting down as you attempt to rest be reassured that it can take a nap, as it were. Good. Take another deep breath. And then either take yourself off mute or pipe into the chat again Any reflections from that exercise? It can be anything you noticed, anything that came up in your body or mind. And you can either take yourself off mute and say so or type into the chat. This was just from before this practice, someone noting how smartwatches intended to measure sleep quality can also decrease sleep quality by increasing anxiety over our sleep. It's not surprising. It seems lined up with what we were talking about in terms of time checking and alarm clocks. Any reflections on that practice of addressing the voices keeping us from sleep? I'm going to wait a few more seconds to see if anyone has anything to say. Yeah. So relaxing easier when you have your eyes closed and do the deep breathing. It's like when you remove the visual stimulus, it's a signal to your body that you're allowed to calm down. And it's related to one of my tips I'll share in a few minutes, but it seems apropos now. So I don't know if you know the like relationship therapist and psychologist Esther Perel, but she talks about if you are always having the same fight, maybe with a partner or a friend, that when you hear the same fight starting to arise, you just lay down. You have an agreement that you'll just lay down. And it's very difficult to fight lying down because you've given your body a signal that you're safe and it's time to down regulate and rest. So your threat perception drops. That's similar when you close your eyes. If you're in an environment that feels safe, your body gets a signal to down regulate, to become more calm. Okay, well, we need to take a stretch break so we can be practicing what we preach, just in line with that same neck and shoulders session we did last time. So you can either take whatever stretch your body's asking for after being seated for some minutes or follow along. And if you'd like to follow along, you'll take your left hand up and over and gently catch along the right side of your head. Take a deep breath and roll your shoulders up and back, and then soften your left ear towards your left shoulder. It doesn't need to be a big range of motion, and you don't need to pull your head to the left. Just breathe into the right side of the neck and switch sides. Come back to center. Roll your shoulders up and back. Extend one arm out in front of you. Take the opposite hand, fingers pointing down in front. Draw gently back on the hand and press from your shoulder out through your wrist. Other side. Good. Two options here, either fingertips resting on your shoulders or interlace your fingers behind your head and gently rest your head back into the cradle of your hands. Keep your elbows wide to start. Then press your head more actively back into the cradle of the hands. If your fingertips are on shoulders, you're backing your head up like you're really stacking your head and neck right over your shoulders. And then a little gentle traction upward. Lengthen the back of your neck. Shake your head gently from side to side. Good, release that. And if you're seated, bring your left hand down either to your lap or to grip the bottom of the chair for a side body stretch. Big reach up and out through the right arm. Ground through your right hip. Reach out through your fingertips. Other side. Good. Come back to center, roll your shoulders. And if you stood up, you can settle back into your seat. You might remember from the last session that one of the things shown to really improve musculoskeletal pain over the course of a workday is changing your position about every hour or more. So whether it be from standing to seated, seated to standing, changing position, variability, really helpful for musculoskeletal pain. So nice to take a stretch break mid-session. Okay, back to sleep. So here are my tips. First is blue light blockers. So these are glasses with clear looking frames. They're pretty inexpensive. You can get them for about $10 that block the blue light that screens create in the evening. So if you think about your 24-hour circadian rhythm, if you're connected to only natural sources of light, you wouldn't be receiving any of this blue light spectrum as the onset of evening and sunset occur. So when our bodies take in blue light in the evening, it delays the onset of the downregulation portion of the circadian rhythm. But we know that a lot of us have a screen habit, a television show we enjoy in the evening, something we like to look at online. And if you don't foresee that habit changing, or that's part of an evening ritual that you enjoy, you can take the blue light element out of the equation by wearing blue light glasses anytime you're taking in screens during the evening. You can also lower the lighting in your house. So turning more lights off in the evening, supporting a lower light environment in the evening hours. So blue light blockers. Um, Also, I really think that the content of what you watch in the evening has a big effect of how stimulating or calming the process of watching anything is before bedtime. So, like, watch a nature documentary, watch something soothing, not an action film before you go to bed. Um, Second one that's interesting is alcohol, because we saw that we want to avoid stimulants like nicotine and caffeine before bed, but why would it be a problem to consume a depressant, something that feels relaxing in the evening? So, what sleep studies show about alcohol consumption in the evening is that although it is initially relaxing, it disrupts the architecture of a full sleep cycle over the course of the night. So we know there are different phases to our sleep, different depths, and alcohol consumption interrupts that architecture. So you might get 7 or 8 hours of sleep having consumed some alcohol and wake up not feeling rested. So even though it's relaxing, has a negative impact on sleep. Third thing is it's okay to be tired. So we're trained to think that it's problematic to be tired, but it's natural and you should feel tired every day. You're an animal that needs to go to sleep. So, we have lots of pressures, work pressure, family pressure, things to do, and it can feel like a problem to have a downturn in energy. And although we want that natural arc of energy over the course of the day, if we can, it's really important not to fight off fatigue. So, say you get a downturn of energy around 3 in the afternoon, instead of drinking coffee, if you can get up and walk for 10 minutes, you might get that similar charge of increased mental alertness without consuming a substance that's going to keep you awake when you try to go to bed at night. What else? Okay, Insight Timer, an amazing resource. I'm going to post some links in the chat. This is largely a meditation and mindfulness app. It is free. There is a paid version, but they have thousands of videos and audio files for free on the Insight Timer app. And in particular, I'm going to share two with you. The first one is a gentle yoga practice for bedtime by a woman named Faith Hunter. I like her a lot. Very soothing, calming voice. And the second is an insight timer meditation called Calming the Voices in Your Head by, let's post this link. This one's by a man named David Gandelman. And it's very similar to the meditation practice that we did together, and they're both free. And Insight Timer generally, an amazing place where you can find resources and search with filters like time. Like, say you only have 5 minutes, you can just search for 5-minute files, and makes it very like bite-sized and accessible. Or you can search for particular content focus like sleep, calming, anxiety reduction, etc. So yeah, definitely suggest using Insight Timer. Great. Okay. So now I'm going to show you another practice. If you're in a space where you can also do this, you're welcome to join me. And for others of you, if you're in a work environment, it'll just be a demo. And these are one that we did in our last session, which is a passive chest opener on your back. It's nice as a home practice, down regulating for the evening. And the two others are variations on a practice called legs up the wall, which has been shown to activate the parasympathetic part of our nervous system, which is the rest and digest part of the nervous system. So I'm going to show you a couple of different options for this passive chest opener and for legs up the wall. If you're in a space where you have access to a just blank wall, you can use that, or a chair. I'm going to do the chair variation first. So I'm going to move my screen back a little, tilt it down so you can see my mat. So first variation of legs up the wall is to use a chair. Come to a floor or a yoga mat and place your legs up the chair. So they're about at a 90-degree angle. Lie down on your back. You turn your hands up towards the ceiling or the sky so your shoulders rest back and open. Your calves should be at a height that they rest comfortably on the seat of the chair. If you start too far away from the chair, it can feel a little straining on the low back. So you scoop in so that your hips are fairly directly beneath the knees so that gravity can do its work to send more settling into the hips, and the back body can relax against the floor or the mat. So that's one variation of legs up the wall. Second is to use a wall itself. I'll scoot the chair aside, turn the mat into the opposite orientation, and lay down in the same way with my hips close to the wall, just as they were to the seat of the chair. You roll back to bring your legs up the wall. Similarly, if you start too far away from the wall, it can be a bit straining on the low back, so you can scoop a little bit closer to the wall so there's fairly direct line from the feet down to the knees to the hips. Again, arms open out beside you with palms turned up, or hands resting comfortably on the body, on the belly, and the chest. And whether you're seated or lying down, bring your hands one to the belly and one to the chest, and close your eyes, and deepen your breath, and use your attention to signal to the body, as if it were evening or a lunch break, that you can rest. You don't actually have to earn your rest. It's just part of your natural animal cycle. And you can use your attention to notice if any parts of the body try to hold on, often the jaw or the space between the eyebrows. And use the softness of your breath and your attention to send softness there. If you're seated, you can release your hands down to your lap. If you're lying down, open your arms out beside you. And keep breathing deeply. Float your eyes open if they're closed. And I'll show you that third option for a restorative pose, revisiting the same shape we explored in the last session. For this one, you take a blanket and you roll it up into a long cylinder. The cylinder of the blanket will run the length of your spine when you lie down on your back. You can place it on a mat or on the ground. Lie down so that your hips are on the ground in front of the rolled up blanket. Lie back on the blanket and open your arms again so that the chest is receiving a passive opening, head, neck, and shoulders relaxing, countering that natural roll countering that roll forward of the shoulders that often happens in our work environments or really working in the front body. Just one more option of a simple restorative shape you can take in a home environment, especially when you're trying to wind down at the end of a day. So come back to your seat if you are lying down. Make yourself comfortable as you can. Good. Now I'm going to place that same list that I described towards the beginning of the session of our sleep habits, behaviors, and choices most shown to support improved sleep duration and quality. And then our top three. So several of you named just the busy mind stopping us from falling asleep at night. And I think that meditation technique we explored is a direct answer to that piece of the puzzle. That rather than fighting the mind or telling it to be quiet or adding another stimulus into the mix, you address the part of your mind that wants to keep going and find out what it's trying to do and reassure it that those things will indeed get done. It's kind of like you're talking to a child, like that part of yourself that isn't sure if it's safe enough to let down and needs some reassurance, some guidance that you can go to sleep. Just looking back at a few things in the chat. Yeah, so I think that question about the naps, I'm not sure what the research would show. You know, I know that those 90-minute naps are shown to be disruptive to the next night's sleep, but I don't know what would be the case if it's just taking you a long time to fall asleep. I wonder um, if the sleep time is still falling within that 30-minute window, if it could still be supportive, but also that could be disruptive to your day if it's taking you that long to fall asleep, so it might not be accessible. Any other questions or things, questions or reflections coming up in regards to those restorative poses, the meditation technique, any of the information I'm sharing? Are you guys noticing any ideas that are coming up? I know your busy minds are thinking something. There's 23 of you in the room. You've got something to say. You can toss it in the chat or just take yourself off mute. Any reflections about sleep habits on the whole? Does any of this feel actionable? Like any of this information? Strategies for going back to sleep when you wake up at night. So I know more about what not to do than what to do. I know the time checking is problematic. I know you want the alarm clock not within sight. Um, and you know what? I shouldn't say more. I shouldn't say more about what not to do, because the next practice that we're going to do is a direct strategy for falling asleep or falling back asleep, which is called a body scan. Anything that requires full attention to the present and to the body, that draws those busy parts of the mind away from relitigating the past or fantasizing about the future, is supportive of falling back asleep. So that's the next thing we're going to do together is a body scan. Hopefully that will be a useful strategy, Monica. Thanks for that question.
Hillary, I have one comment.
Great.
Number six. Now, I know it says to avoid bright screens and television before bedtime. I have put this in practice. I cannot fall asleep without the TV. If I turn the TV off,
Yeah.
I will lay there for hours. I mean, like hours
Yeah.
in my head thinking about things. But if I put the TV on low, on like something that I've seen before, like I've watched the Twilight Zone or something like that,
Yeah.
I can fall asleep
Yeah.
like immediately. But if I turn the TV off, I'll lay there for hours. I'll lay there for like 2 hours. I'll wake up and I'll look up and be like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in cases like this, it's like let's not problematize something that's not causing a problem. So if you're getting the quality of rest that you want, if you're waking up feeling rested the next day, and you've found a habit that works for you, especially if you're not even watching the TV, so you don't have that blue light problem for your circadian rhythm, then I say don't create a problem where there's not one. And I think that's the case with like all of these sessions, is like finding what's accessible and enjoyable for us, because we don't need one more grim chore or obligation to add to the mix. If we're interested in behavior change and habit building, what we know is that we need to choose things where we get some early wins and some early positive feedback to help build momentum. So if you have, a habit like that that's already supportive, it's like maybe you look at something else that's like a small bite-size action, that doesn't require you to like take away something pleasurable. That's my answer to that.
Thank you, Hillary.
Absolutely. Thank you, Leon. I'll put a movie or show on. I've seen a number of times and set a 30-minute timer. If I wake up during the night, I'll turn on my sound machine. Yeah, excellent. I think the timer is really smart, because then you know that like that stimulus is going to go away once you fall asleep. And sound machine as an option for a little bit of white noise. I did see that in the research I was looking at, white noise if a quiet environment isn't an option. So like people that live in more urban areas, or if live near a highway like I do, and there's going to be a good amount of noise, adding some white noise can be supportive. I need the white noise, have a fan, or if I'm camping, helps to hear the chirping of insects. Yeah, and you'll notice that like even in our meditation apps, we pipe in nature sounds. Like if they're not happening naturally in our environment, people like to listen to the sound of water, the sound of rain. There's reasons that these things are biologically triggering to the down regulating aspects of our nervous system. This is all very helpful. Um, I've heard a lot about legs up the wall, that it can be really helpful. Yeah, legs up the wall, whether it be for sleep or just general upregulation or anxiety, I find that the quickest physical way back to calm. If you just put yourself on your back, legs up the wall, or using the chair, our bodies respond very quickly to that shape. Great. Okay, well, let's do the body scan. The dog that sleeps with us, waking up a little. Again, it's like, what are the benefits and what are the harms? If you're somebody who's struggling to feel rested, if you're like, I don't have enough energy for my day, then looking at factors like having a dog in the bed could be useful. But if you're like, it feels comforting, it's sweet for my family, and it's not causing a problem, I say we don't need to problematize the things that we enjoy. Great. Thanks so much, everybody, for piping in. Love this to be more interactive. Let's do that body scan together and then we'll chat a little bit more. So again, you might be seated. If you have the option to lie down, body scan can be really, that's my cause for waking up at night. Yeah, pets. Great. So body scan, this is something I do every night before I go to sleep. And we're going to start at the feet and work our way up the body. And the idea is that you're using simple repetition and visualization, using your attention to scan the body, to draw your attention into the present and allow your body to calm down. This is a nice one to do with eyes closed. I'm going to guide us through it. Be in the most comfortable position you can. Again, either lying down or seated. It's repetitious and calming. So bring your attention to your feet. Relax your feet. Your feet are relaxing. Your feet are completely relaxed. Bring your attention to your legs. Relax your legs. Your legs are relaxing. Your calves, your knees, and your thighs are completely relaxed. Bring your attention to your hips. Relax your hips. The hips are relaxing. The hips are relaxed. Your hips are completely relaxed. Bring your attention to your back. Relax your back. The lower back, the middle back, and your upper back are all relaxing. Your back is completely relaxed. Bring your attention to your belly. Relax the belly. Your belly is relaxing. The belly is completely relaxed. Bring your attention to your hands. Relax your hands. Relax your fingers, your palms, and your wrists. The hands are completely relaxed. Bring your attention to your arms. Relax your arms. Your forearms, your elbows, and your upper arms are all relaxing. Your arms are relaxed. Bring your attention to your shoulders. Relax your shoulders. The shoulders are relaxing. The shoulders are completely relaxed. Bring your attention to your chest. Relax your chest. The chest is relaxing. The chest is completely relaxed. Bring your attention to your neck. Relax your neck. Your throat and neck are relaxing. The throat and neck are completely relaxed. Bring your attention to your face. Relax your face. Relax your jaw. Relax your cheeks. Relax the space between your eyebrows. Relax your forehead. Your face is relaxed. Bring your attention to your whole head. Relax your head. Relax your head. Your head is relaxed. Bring your attention to your breath. Relax your breath. Relax your breath. Your breath is completely relaxed. Rest your body. Your body is completely relaxed. Now bring your attention back. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Turn your head from side to side. Maybe reach your arms up overhead and stretch your body long. Good. So that's the body scan. And we'll do one more practice here together. You can stay lying down if you're lying, or in your seat if you're seated. And for this one, we're going to experience relaxation by contrast. So you're going to tense your whole body as much as you can. It's like you curl your toes, make fists, scrunch up your face, tighten, 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 ab muscles, arms, everything tight, 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 and let go. Do that twice more. Tighten up, squeeze, 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 and relax. And one last time, squeeze everything and release. This one feels really good lying down. Okay, so those are the last two practices. I'll tell you that after doing that body scan for many years, I don't ever get past my hips. I'm already asleep. So it's creating these built-in behaviors or habits that cue the body with consistency. Oh, it's my time to let down. It's my time to fall asleep. Okay. Any last questions or reflections after those practices? I'm going to put these things in the chat just to remind you of these supportive poses and practices. Our body scan, tightening and relaxing, feeling by contrast. Legs up the wall. And this in answer to that question about what do I do when I wake up in the night? These are all things that you can try. Passive chest opener with blanket. And if you have a bed that's up against a wall, you can do legs up the wall right in your bed. Legs up the wall with a chair. And I think that first link I sent to the evening yoga practice is about like a 15-minute practice. Another just option for a habit to cue the body that you're starting to wind down. And I really want you to come away from these sessions, with some information, but also with really bite-sized, actionable practices that you can bring into your day or your night. So there's just a list of those things. And in these last few minutes, any questions, comments, reflections on anything throughout the class? I'll also just let you know that the next session will be a guided meditation on presence. Just asking the question, what does it mean to be present? Why is it such a buzzword? Why are we all obsessed with trying to be present? And what are some pragmatic practices we can do to deepen presence? And that's on October 13th at 12:30. Any reflections? Oh yeah, how you brought IFS into this topic. Thank you. Yeah, internal family systems is amazing as a broader body of theory, but when I watched the meditation to which I sent the link with David Gandelman, I loved how he uses just a snippet of the theory as a meditation practice. And I find it really effective just to be in a state of inquiry. If there's a part of my mind that will not be quiet, fighting it off or telling it to shut up, it doesn't work. It makes the wavelengths get even bigger. And so, how do we address that part of ourselves and ask, what is it trying to do? What is its intention? And how can we reassure it or support it that it's allowed to sleep, it's allowed to rest? Thanks so much, Jennifer, for that. Any other questions or reflections as we wrap up? Thank
Looks
you. Thank you so much. So glad
Just
that was helpful.
thank yous. I did copy the links that you sent in chat and all of the stuff, so I will add that to the email that we send out with the recording once it's available. So I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who attended. Anyone who can't will get the reporting. We do have some more upcoming classes with Hillary throughout the rest of the year, as well as all of our other topics. So just be sure to keep an eye out for those flyers and updates coming out.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I hope you all get a great night's rest tonight, and I'll see you all soon.
Thank you.